A functional group defines the structure of a compound and allows us to categorize compounds by their functional group. We also find that functional groups will relate to the compound's reactivity, and all compounds that have an OH are considered alcohols, and all alcohols tend to react in a similar fashion, or at least to a fair approximation. So we've got a categorization, and we've got a link now to reactivity as well. If you take a look at the list of functional groups that I want you to know, these are the functional group structures. These are the actual groups that define the functional groups. So something with just CC single bonds is an alkane, CC double bond is alkene, CC triple bond is alkyne, a CNH2 is an amine, OH is an alcohol. And I want to point out here is a common trend that we see with these, that in essence replacing the H with a C. If we do that, then we change the functional group. So an alcohol has an OH, and ether has a COC. That's what defines the ether, is the COC part. Aldehydes, we see the same trend, H, ketone, C. So C double bond O with an H is an aldehyde, C double bond O with a C is a ketone. Carboxylic acid, OH, C double bond O, OH, that's a carboxylic acid, C double bond O, OC, that's an ester. And again, we keep on seeing this same kind of trend. Amides, C double bond O to an N, aromatic hydrocarbon is a benzene ring, and that can have stuff hanging off it. These here represent real examples of compounds. And if I was ever to ask you to draw a real example, you could just draw one of these, or you could draw a line structure if you felt like it. So let's say I asked you to draw an alcohol, then you could draw something like this, or you could get a real imaginative and you can draw something like this. Then if I asked you to draw an ether, then you could draw something like this. And you can see the difference between an alcohol and an ether. The alcohol has the OH and the ether has the COC linkage. So you can see how that goes. Now the other kind of question I can ask is, I can give you a drug and ask you to figure out what functional groups it has. And here's a list of functional groups that are possible. Alkene, alkyne, ether, alcohol, ketone, aldehyde, carboxylic acid, ester, amine, amide, and aromatic hydrocarbon. Obviously a compound won't contain all of those, but it'll contain some of them. Now this particular one has a carboxylic acid and a ketone, and I've circled the carboxylic acid and I've circled the ketone. That's an example of that.